The airport never slept, but at 2 in the morning it breathed differently. The echo of rolling suitcases softened. Announcements sounded gentler, and the fluorescent lights reflected off polished floors like tired moons. Daniel Reeve sat alone near Gate 47, his tailored suit immaculate, his posture straight, his eyes hollow. To the world, he was the CEO of Reeve Global Technologies, a man whose signature could move markets and whose face appeared on magazine covers beside words like visionary and ruthless. But in that moment, surrounded by strangers and noise, Daniel felt profoundly invisible. He stared at the departure board not because he was confused about his flight, but because it gave him something to look at that did not look back. His private jet waited on a different runway, yet he had chosen the commercial terminal, as if proximity to ordinary lives might remind him of something he had misplaced long ago. He had lost his wife 3 years earlier, not to death but to distance. Success had stretched their conversations thin until silence replaced affection. His son lived overseas, polite on video calls, careful not to stay too long. Daniel told himself that loneliness was the cost of ambition, a toll paid by those who dared to want more. Still, on nights like this, the story rang false. He rubbed his temples, the weight of another acquisition meeting pressing behind his eyes, and wondered when airports had begun to feel like homes and homes like temporary lounges. A small voice interrupted his thoughts. "Are you lost too, mister?" Daniel looked down, surprised. A little girl stood a few feet away, no more than 7 or 8, clutching a pink backpack with a missing zipper. Her hair was tied in uneven pigtails, and her shoes blinked faintly with each step she took, as if trying to announce her presence to a world that might overlook her. She tilted her head, studying him with a seriousness that felt older than her years. "I'm sorry?" Daniel said, the words stiff from disuse in casual conversation. "Lost," she repeated, tapping her temple. "Like when you don't know where you're supposed to go." She glanced around, the vast terminal, then back at him. "You look like that?" Daniel almost laughed. The observation was too accurate, too unguarded. "I know exactly where I'm going," he said, defaulting to certainty. "I just have some time." The girl frowned, unconvinced. "That's what my dad says when he's sad," she replied. She sat down beside him without asking, legs swinging. "I'm Lily." Daniel hesitated, scanning for a parent. None appeared. "Daniel," he said, "where's your family, Lily?" She shrugged. "Mom went to get coffee. She said not to move, but I wanted to see the airplanes up close." She pointed through the glass, wall where aircraft rested like enormous, patient animals. "They're going everywhere. I like to think they know where they belong." Daniel followed her gaze. He had spent half his life in the air, yet had never considered that planes might feel at home somewhere. "They're just machines," he said softly. "People say that about my dad too," Lily replied. "But he's not. He just forgets to smile." Something loosened in Daniel's chest. "What does your dad do?" he asked. "He fixes things," she said. "Not with tools. With promises. He says if you promise something and keep it, it makes the world less scary." She paused, then added, "But sometimes he breaks promises because he has to work." Daniel looked away. The terminal lights blurred. "Sometimes work feels like the only promise you can keep," he said, more to himself than to her. Lily studied him again. "That's not true," she said firmly. "You can always promise to listen." She leaned closer, lowering her voice as if sharing a secret. "Are you running away from someone?" The question landed with a thud. Daniel opened his mouth to deflect, to charm, to diffuse. Instead, the truth slipped out, raw and unpolished. "I think I've been running away from myself," he said. Lily nodded as if this made perfect sense. "That's the worst kind of lost," she said, "because you can't leave yourself behind." Before Daniel could respond, an announcement crackled overhead, calling for final boarding on a flight to Seattle. Lily hopped up. "That's us," she said. "Mom's meeting me here." She smiled at Daniel, a smile unburdened by expectations. "You don't look as lost now." Daniel felt an unfamiliar urge to stop her, to ask her to stay, to keep talking until the emptiness retreated. But Lily's mother appeared breathless, relief flooding her face as she gathered her daughter into a hug. She thanked Daniel politely, unaware of the quiet earthquake her child had caused. As Lily was led away, she turned back and waved. "Don't forget to listen, mister," she called. Daniel watched until they disappeared into the crowd. For the first time in years, he missed a flight on purpose. He canceled his meeting, silenced his phone, and sat there long after Gate 47 emptied. Replaying a child's words that had cut deeper than any boardroom confrontation, he realized then that the question was not whether he was lost, but whether he was willing to admit it. Daniel did not sleep that night. Instead, he walked the city streets beyond the airport, letting the early morning chill wake parts of him he had neglected. He replayed Lily's voice, her certainty, her simple insistence that listening mattered. By sunrise, he had made a decision that would have shocked his executive team more than any hostile takeover. He took a leave of absence. Not a press-friendly sabbatical filled with speaking engagements, but a quiet withdrawal from the machinery he had built and allowed to consume him. Days later, he found himself back at the same airport, not to depart, but to wait. He did not know why he expected to see Lily again, only that something unfinished tugged at him. He sat near the same gate, dressed plainly, watching families, travelers, and workers move through their routines. He began to listen, truly listen, to snippets of conversations, to laughter and arguments, to the cadence of ordinary lives. The world felt louder and richer than he remembered. He saw Lily before she saw him. She was perched on a suitcase, swinging her legs, her pink backpack now repaired with a bright yellow zipper. When she noticed him, her face lit up with recognition and delight. She ran over, stopping just short of colliding with his knees. "You're back," she exclaimed.
"Did you find yourself?"
Daniel smiled, a genuine smile that surprised even him. "I think I started looking," he said. "How about you?" "I found a cookie in my bag," she said proudly. "That counts." Her mother approached more calmly this time, greeting Daniel with curiosity rather than panic. They talked awkwardly at first, then easily. Her name was Maria, and she worked 2 jobs to make ends meet, traveling occasionally for seasonal work. Lily's father had passed away a year earlier, leaving promises unfinished but love intact. Daniel listened. He did not interrupt or offer solutions. He simply listened, honoring Lily's advice. When Maria finished, she looked at him with surprise. "Most people don't listen like that," she said. "I'm practicing," Daniel replied. Their paths crossed again and again over the following months, sometimes by chance, sometimes by intention. Daniel volunteered at airport programs that helped unaccompanied minors. He funded quiet corners for families, scholarships for workers' children, and counseling services disguised not as charity, but as infrastructure. He avoided press releases, preferring impact over applause. Lily became a constant in his life, her questions evolving as she did, her honesty unwavering. One afternoon, as they watched planes take off, Lily asked, "Are you still a CEO?" Daniel considered the question. "I still lead a company," he said, "but I'm trying to lead a life too." She smiled, satisfied. "Then you're not lost anymore." Daniel knew the journey was ongoing, that loneliness did not vanish but softened when shared. He knew success could still seduce him back into old habits, but he also knew that a simple question from a child had rerouted his life more effectively than any strategic plan. As a plane lifted into the sky, Daniel felt grounded for the first time in years, aware that belonging was not a destination marked on a board, but a promise kept through presence, listening, and the courage to admit when you are lost and choose finally to be found.